I found it on Rhema Radio.
Hey everyone, with us today in the studio we have a really special guest. It was not easy getting his dates down to be with us, but he's agreed to be with us today despite his many commitments. And I'll let Doreen do the long introduction.
There's a reason for that, right, Jason? And he's no other than His Grace, Datuk Hing. He's the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of the province of Southeast Asia. And this comprises 4 dioceses of Kuching, Sabah, Singapore and West Malaysia. He's also concurrently serving as the President of the Bible Society of Malaysia and the Bishop of West Malaysia, as well as he was previously a Chairman of the Christian Federation of Malaysia. Now, since that's out of the way, the more personal notes about him is he originally comes from Ipoh and he's married to Siu Lan. They have 3 children and 2 children-in-law. In his free time, he gardens with his wife and he has an interest in cooking and herbal plants.
Yeah. Maybe we start off, once again, welcome to the studio, Your Grace.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. What are your Christmas plans this year? I mean, what do you have planned? I'm sure you have different things that you're going to invited to and all. But what maybe in a nutshell, what's in store for you this year for Christmas?
Every year Christmas we spend a lot of time in church services, going to one church and one service to one service. I think this Christmas I will have probably 4 or 5 services lined up that I have to speak and have to lead.
Wow. Sounds like a busy schedule.
So is Christmas usually your most busy time of the year?
Christmas and Easter usually. Yeah.
Now, just to jump into this interview, of course, this is my first time meeting you personally, and I'm really happy to do so. But I did read up online, and I couldn't get a hold of this, that you wrote a book a couple of years ago. It was titled From Village to Village, yeah? And basically you wrote that when you were the vicar in Ipoh of, I think it was St. Peter's, right? Could you summarize an interesting story from that book for us?
It was not meant to be a book. It's supposed to be a report. But someone told me that you can make it a book by putting some stories and pictures. But I try, and it took me 5 years.
5 years.
But anyway, the whole gist of the whole book was the ministry that I felt God has told me to go into the villages. And I began going to the Chinese new villages and then starting some churches. And then later on going to the Asli kampongs and also ones in the urban poor Tamil village. And with that, over the years, and I have no techniques and no knowledge, no books, no money, no personnel, and I trusted God and start. Praise the Lord. Now, after many years, there are many kampongs and many villages that has a church or the chapel within them. And there's no secret. It's just a passion and a love. So what we normally do is we look at the whole total person that we need to reach out to. Actually, when I reached all these villages, my concern was only to tell myself, in 30 years, what will they become? So I've invested in the children. So the adults and the youth that came was actually bonuses to us. So the children, in 30 years, we hope that they will be a group of people who love God and they can build up themselves and the character, moral and education, other aspects will develop like us. So praise the Lord, I think we are on the way. Now it's 20 years, so we are coming close to it. And I'm very happy to see that many of them are now pastors, and some have gone to universities. And we have one hostel for the boys, and so many surprises. The surprises to many of us is he topped the whole school in his class, and orang asli boy. I think
so. This is in Malaysia.
It's in Goping. So I think we are in the right track.
I know it sounds cliche, but children really are the future, and sowing into them. I mean, some people they do children's ministry, and they may not necessarily see the results. But wow, hearing from you, it's such an encouragement. 20 years later, and we see such great fruits that came out of your sowing.
Yeah, not only the children. We, as we say, as we do with the children, we also have to win the adults as well, so that the adults will work with us. So we praise God that we have goat farm, chicken farm, vegetable farm, fish farm, and now the latest is duck farming. And we have one more project is not realized completely, is a vocational center to teach them to do motorbike repairs and also handphones repairs and things like that, so that they can take it to their own life and they can do it anytime, anywhere, and earn a living. And they also plumbing and electrical wiring. These are some for those people who couldn't study very well.
I guess so. The value add here is not just hearing gospel, but actually life skills and things which they can actually carry out in their day-to-day living.
Yes, that's our intention, so that the whole person is developed.
Speaking about life skills, right, Jason, Your Grace, I was reading about the type of language evangelism that goes on in Southeast Asia under the umbrella of your dioceses, as well as the results that you've witnessed. Could you share with, some listeners today about what that was all about, the English language, teaching English language and all of that?
Yeah, I was the just immediate past chair of the mission department of the whole of the province of Southeast Asia.
So that includes like countries like Laos, Myanmar,
there are 9 countries involved.
Vietnam, all those countries.
Yeah, Nepal, Laos, all these, Cambodia.
Yep.
Yeah, so when we went there to evangelize or to plant church, we realized that one of the major requests from all the communities that we have visited are English language. And they all want to progress in that.
Okay.
So in Cambodia, we have PKH project, Khmer Hope. And this PKH was developed by a Singapore church, and we all join hands to assist in help in many ways. And this PKH is a English center. We took young people who drop out of schools and who are in the teenage or young adults age. So we spent 2 years with them and train them up with computers and English language. And now many of them are working in banks or working in government sectors and hotels and all these places. And now we have one extra line in that we help them in doing mechanical, vocational help in motorbikes and cars. And then we have schools also in Vietnam, and English schools.
Yep.
And though they study English, but their English is very poor.
Okay.
And now in Laos, we did so well that we call ARDA, ARDA. It was supposed to be the Anglican Relief Development Agency. But then we realized that the people need English, so we launched it to English. And so we do so well that even the government servants are sent there to learn English. And now it's so good that the government of Laos felt that we are doing so good in English, and they gave us a school in next city. And we did the first one in Vientiane, and second one we do it in Ro Prabang. And then the third one, they gave us another school in Pak Se. 3 major schools that we run English for ordinary people as well as for government servants.
That's great. Thank you. And where do you recruit these teachers from?
All over the world, whoever who are keen and interested. We have one called Gateway program that we invite young people all over the world who want to spend a year or 2 or 3 to help to teach English.
So it's a voluntary program.
Yes, but these people need to survive, so their home church or the home organization will help them as well.
It's interesting to note that for all of us listening to this, you probably have a good command in English and you are familiar with the language, obviously. But that for people out there and who are maybe even in Malaysia who don't have this basic thing, and there's something that they are desirous of and they want to learn, and I think that's something we can as a tool to even connect and be relevant
Definitely.
Yeah, just to share. Yeah, in English. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's how I started the village work. We use English tuition initially for the children. Then we realized that the adults all come and they want to learn conversation English.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's felt needs. I think meeting felt needs. That's the real matter here.
Now, jumping away from all of this, I'm going to ask a really tough question. You can answer it any way you like. So, what keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, to me, busy whole day. So the only night's period of time is a quiet time. The time that I can really think and really quiet down to go through the whole day, answer emails, write articles, and write my articles for my magazines, for school magazines, for many other things, as well as even that's the time for me to do a planning, long-term planning and vision casting. All those ideas comes then.
So you're a very creative person at heart because you do a lot of your work at night. Because that's what creative people do, right? Nighttime. Oh, okay, let's work.
Yes.
And what's your routine like? So then are you up really early in the morning the next day?
Usually, yes. If I can get a rest in the afternoon, I'll do. But when I go to the office, I don't rest enough.
Your Grace, if you were given another 30 years, what do you hope to achieve in your ministry, in your life? Yeah, another 30 years.
For the first 20 years of my life, I was searching for the meaning of life. And finally, I found, at the age of 20, I found Jesus Christ. And that's the exciting thing. My life turned around and changed. And so since then, I've been journeying for the last 40 years in the life serving the Lord. And if I have the chance to repeat all over again, actually I will do the same thing. I will walk exactly the same way because I felt that even though it is tough and it is difficult and there are ups and downs at days, but the direction is correct and the way that do is correct because we are part and parcel of the good and bad together, and we must come together. And so I believe in 30 years given to me again, I will journey the same way.
If you could share, for the benefit of those listening out there, your journey. You said that the first 20 years you were working with in the secular world, and then you made the transition to full-time ministry. If you could share maybe that journey, what was that point where you decided, hey, God, this is my all, this is who I am, and this use me. Yeah.
When I was in university, doing my first degree, and that's where I met God, and I was very happy and very excited, and I took up the reading of the Bible. 1 year I read through the Bible a couple of times and read through again because I was so hungry, and then I joined many different discussion group, Bible study group, and training groups. So at the third year of my university life, then I realized that it's time for me to put in action all the things that I believe, and I was really passionate to do mission, and I want to quit, but I was told by the elders not to quit, to carry on and finish my degree as an engineer, so that will help me. So I went on and I worked. After that, I worked 5 years before I go into the seminary and call it full-time ministry. And the biggest struggle at that time was with my parents. My parents were not Christian. My family were not Christian except one sister. And it was really challenging. But in the end of the day, I managed to baptize my own mother. And many of my families are also have become Christians. Just a few more, not yet. And those are the challenging time. The second challenging time is that you tell myself that I entered into full-time ministry. I won't have the luxury of all the finances that I used to have as an engineer. But there's a lifestyle change. But we look back, I think it was good. I may not be the same person if I continue with all these luxurious things.
Sure.
So God has been faithful, and the choices that you've made, you wouldn't have experienced so much richness. And the things you shared earlier, in fact, about ministering and blessing these countries. Wow, I think it's something that, looking back, it's something that only God could have done.
Sure, I believe so.
Yeah.
Without him, I don't think anything can be done.
Oh, praise God. Now, before becoming a bishop, you spent, and I was amazed by this, right? You spent like 20 years as a vicar at St. Peter's Church in Ipoh. And I couldn't help but draw a parallel in there. As soon as I read that, I was thinking of you, and I was thinking of the parallel between you and Moses. What was it, 25 years as a shepherd in the land of Midian? Whereas, like where God was preparing you, as he did for Moses, for a greater undertaking. What were those years at St. Peter's like for you?
Yeah, when I went there was only one congregation. It's like normal, any church with 90 people. Called reasonably okay church. And then I told myself, by the time I leave, I hope to see I train up more people. My contention, my focus, my vision was not the number of people that I want to see how big the congregation. My whole focus was on building up people. So I told them on the first sermon, I remember that if I leave this church, by the time I leave, if I train up one more guy, I know that the church will double. If I train 10 guys, the church would 10 times bigger. So my whole concept was to train people and equip them all the character, the moral, and the vision, and the biblical understanding.
Discipleship, basically.
And discipleship. The whole package, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I praise God, by the time 20 years, I left, there are many people taking up all the centers that I started. It was so great. The Lord has sent right people. And of course, there are hard times, but yet those are actually learning curves.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned about passing it. In a sense, there's a point of transition and passing on the baton. What are the practical steps, maybe, for pastors out there and leaders out there who are thinking about living? I mean, in terms of ministry, passing it on to the next generation. What are the practical steps they could do? I mean, yeah.
The first thing I will say is that we need to trust the people. And all people are not the same level of trust you can put on. We need to build that level, build the trust. The person must trust you and you must trust the person. And at the same time, you develop not putting the importance on skill or knowledge, but it is on the life of the person. And with that, the person may not score A's in your eyes. He may only score C, but then since he will carry on and doing the same thing with the same vision and the same passion, I think you get there. The problem of many of the pastors today is because we are too conscious of the number of the parishioners, how many church members I have, how big my church is. Or the other concern is too much concentrate on how the skills are and where are the ministries are. No, I think without a person, there will be no ministry. My philosophy is always people come first before the ministry. With the person, you have ministry. I always tell myself, if one day I train all the people, however good or bad, if I get one guy like Hudson Taylor, I got the whole China. I got one guy like Billy Graham, I got the whole world.
Yeah.
So if one person I get like Mother Teresa, I got all the social ministry done. So
you're looking for that one person, you're looking for that one.
I'm not looking for the one, I'm just hitting and get as many pass through my hand, and I want to equip. I don't know who they are, but they will shine by one day.
I've heard it said that you can count the trees in the forest, but you can't count the forests in one seed.
Yeah.
So the seed has so much potential, and what you're talking about here is sowing seeds faithfully with the hope that that it would take root and bear fruit. And I think the really key thing that you shared here is trust. Coming to a place of trusting someone, and trust goes both ways, like you said. Yeah. How again, going back on this, how does one build trust, and how does one create that form of trust that is required to journey on this journey together of life?
Within trust, understanding is number one, communication is number two, And thirdly is letting go, allowing the person to make mistakes or make successes. And we journey with him and then go back to see where we can learn from each other.
I like that, allowing him to make mistakes, because that's not often done, right? We tend to correct people even before outcome.
Yeah, we jump at people and scold them,
Yeah.
and this guy walked out. Then the end of the story.
Yeah.
In fact, in Rhema, I think we're making a lot of mistakes as we go along. But yeah, we are learning as we go along.
Just starting up. Humble beginnings.
Yes,
Remember
yes, humble beginnings.
Maybe I give you one example how
Yeah,
I work
sure.
on. And for many of the people who are still serving the Lord faithfully under me, I can share with you that there are so many times that these people misunderstood me, thought that when I send them to further training or to further equipping, and they all misunderstood me, thought that I want to get rid of them.
Oh.
So it was very heartache, and they find it very hard, and they walk away, and they say they will never come back to this church anymore.
Oh, dear.
But at the end of the day, after they walk away for a few months, they look back, and they now all of them has come back.
Oh, that's great.
Not one have not come back. And in fact, when they came back, they were so grateful.
Oh, reconciliation.
Because they thought I was with this intention. But my heart was clear, it was no, because I always ask them, do you want to one day to be like me, sitting in the same position that I do? If you do, now is the time to equip so that you can be like me. So I always work myself away, then you take over. But usually when the people are thriving in certain things, you take them away, they are not happy.
Of course. Out of their comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
Because like what you shared earlier, it's about trust.
Yeah.
And trust goes both ways. So they need to trust you in your decisions and why you made that call. And I think for those out there who have mentors and are looking for mentors, you have to be ready to be in that place where you trust the decisions, even though it does not seem like what you would like or like what you would want, or it doesn't even make sense. And that's the same thing with God as well. Sometimes God puts us in places where we don't see the end product. Like you're sending me away, far away, and it feels like it's so far away from everyone
definitely.
else.
We're not comfortable at all.
Yeah,
and this goes on for years and years sometimes.
Exactly.
And
Or
just
maybe
goes
20,
on from
maybe 20 years in Ipoh.
20 years in
and then you're ready. Then you're like Moses, 25 years, and then you're ready. You know?
Like,
That's just like Jesus, when he picked all his people, I'm sure every one of them have ups and downs, and there are times that they did wrong, and then even Peter had denied Jesus 3 times, and but because the trust is there, and the passion is there, and the understanding is there, there will be mistakes, and then help him to correct it and return. And you see, in the end of the day, they turned the world around, the apostles of Jesus.
so can you share with us, in your capacity as bishop since, I think it was 2007, or even in your capacity as Archbishop since this year, 2016, was there any one difficult, maybe very challenging decision that you've had to make?
There are always a lot of challenging decisions, but I will not take those challenges as as something very difficult. I always leave it to God, because whenever there is something to slow down or a blockage or something like that, I believe God is saying, hey, time is not there.
So you sound like one of those people who don't get flustered easily. Just, go with the flow.
Yeah, I want to say to you, actually, I can say I am quite good in able to handle all this stuff. Even though personally, I do, at that moment of time, I do feel difficult. But then usually I commit to the Lord, and the Lord will work out ways. Sometimes things may not do it so fast, but I still know that one day it will work out, because the best way He has. And so that's how
you face challenges.
Yeah,
and that's how
you
face
can
difficult
say
decisions.
I handle stress in this way.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of the year, and maybe there are some listeners out there who are making resolutions and thinking about what 2017 is going to look like for them. Do you have any advice for them, and also from your own maybe experience and journey, planning, like you mentioned about your late night plannings? What are your advice in for those making those plans, and looking forward to the new year?
Plans must be made. But then all these plans we made, we must submit to God. And we just pray to God, and He will direct us. And I want to say, those people who do not plan actually will be very disappointed because they don't know what to expect. But those who plan, and God will actually guide you, even though you may not turn out the same way that you do, but He will not be too far away, because He will surely show you that this plan can take a different branch or different direction. In the end of the day, your plans are all fruitful. But I want to say to you, the first angel that came in during Christmas time, the first announcement of the angels of the birth of Jesus was joy to the world. And the word joy came in a very sad time when Palestine was so difficult and the people was down of foreign domination, and the leadership was corrupt, and the days was gloom. God's voice didn't come. And then the joy to the world came, and this joy, until today, whenever we celebrate Christmas, the same thing when we look at the Christmas is joy. And that will bring us to the next year, the whole year, if we look at this joy. I always remind myself, for many years, I've been sharing the same message to say, joy means J-O-Y. J to me is, if we put Jesus first, or others number 2, O, others number 2nd, and then you last, then the whole world turns, and when you look at Jesus, if anything that glorifies Him, anything that works for Him, and anything that passionate for Him, that's number 1. Number 2, if we can bless people and make people walk their second mile and help them to rise up and be ourselves last. And in the end of the day, that's joy. And that with this joy, I believe all business people, all church people, and anyone who plan for the future, you will be great.
That's really, really amazing. J-O-Y. I never saw it that way before.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So thank you so much, Your Grace. Once again, we've got to close, but we want to thank you, Your Grace, Datuk Hing, who is the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of the Province of Southeast Asia. I'm Doreen.
And I'm Jason.
And we're signing off for today. Thank you, Datuk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm Juwita Suito from For the Records, wishing you a very, very Merry Christmas. You're listening to Rhema Radio.
Hi, did God do something great in your life today?
Or do you have a God story you want to tell someone?
We have just the place for you. Send us your story at Christianity Malaysia today.
That's right. The story you share might just be the word that someone out there needs to hear.
Send us your story today at editor@christianitymalaysia.com.
Hey, this is Darren from An Honest Mistake, and I just want to wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I found it on Rhema Radio.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room. Let heaven and nature sing. I'll sing joy to the world.
I'm Pastor Jacqueline Ryan from One Voice Ministries, wishing you a blessed Christmas and a miracle-filled 2017. God bless you.
Hi, I'm Taufik from DMC. Merry Christmas!
Hai, saya Gina, saya dari FJKL, ingin mengucapkan Selamat Hari Natal kepada kamu semua.
Hello, this is Sheila Singham from Renewal Lutheran Church. I have a verse I'd like to share, and it's from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future."
Thanks for staying with us on Rhema Radio. This segment features music from Altered Frequency. Do check out this week's year-end sermon from Pastor Datuk Dr. Daniel Ho from the UMC next.
I found it on Rhema Radio.